Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the ZRacing January Series. Flat is fast. We're on stage 4. Douce France, and this is going to be a fast one with a little bit of an test winds up front. It's got a back end of a whole lot of flat, actually. A little punch on the Aqueduct KOM reverse, 25 kilometers in total. But first, I want to chat about what has been going on cycling over the past week. I've been watching some racing over the weekend. Tour Down Under just finished, as well as we had a cyclocross race with the quote-unquote big three, really maybe the big two as of recently, up against each other. Dave, what did you think about the cycling over the last weekend?
Man, I was really locked in, to tell you the truth. The joy, it's not quite like July when the Tour de France is here, but I realized, like, with the Tour Down Under on, for us it was on, well, not that late at night, but into prime time viewing. I was really loving it. And, honestly, Isaac Del Toro, for me, is why I got into this sport originally. It was about identifying with riders in the sport. And I know the same for you. It sounded like, anyways, I don't want to put words in your mouth. But for me, yeah, I love the fact, too, that we're seeing riders like, so Stephen Williams wins. That was a great story. Great for Israel Premier Tech. It's cool seeing them leveling up this year, definitely with their directors and the team. But the thing I really love is this youth movement in the sport, Nathan. And I think Isaac Del Toro was a great
identification.
example of that.
Identification is a big one, and Zwift being a part of the Tour Down Under as well, with that being a theme, I think, around the young riders jersey. You know what I mean? I think that's a big part of all that. And I'm so glad that Del Toro showed up the way he did, taking down the stage. I wonder if there is some use to what happened, why he showed up. I know in pre-production you were saying, of course he lost. Of course he's not, like, you've got a team, Israel Premier Tech, with a lot of savviness in it too. You were talking about that, how they brought in some new talent as far as directing goes.
Yeah, well, and yeah, Nathan, exactly. The sport is changing right in front of our eyes. I didn't even connect the dots that was the Zwift Best Young Riders jersey that Isaac Del Toro won. But going to Israel Premier Tech, Sam Bewley was racing just a few years ago. Daryl Impey was racing, same thing. Actually, they're just freshly retired, and their mindset of racing, the way that the sport has changed. Because I'm old enough, Nathan, that back there are so many of these, it's not just rites of passage, but unwritten rules. Like, a good example would be the gifting of a bike race and whether you should do that or shouldn't do that. And I love the fact that the Wout van Aerts, the Mathieu van der Poels, the Tadej Pogačars, the Jonas Vingegaards don't care about those old sets of morals and values. They have values and morals, but it's more modern and it fits the times and the spirit. And you know what, Nathan? It fits a guy like you, to tell you the truth, because mountain bike racing, it's all about competitive and getting after it and let the chips fall where they may, instead of conserve, don't gamble, and then just make one last huge javelin throw at the mastodon.
There was a lot of gambling going on in the end. There was a lot of gambling going on in the end at TDU, and you saw those attacks. And the way Del Toro rode to try and at least do something, and that, you know what I mean? It really showed. It really showed the heart. The other side, you did mention a few athletes there, and those that saw this weekend with the big three in cyclocross, and Wout van Aert, breaking the streak of Van der Poel. That was also the big story from the past week, I think. But Van der Poel, I mean, he had a crash. Would that have been the same race without the crash? Well, woulda, coulda, shoulda, whatever it might be. Well, also had a crash and lost and knocked his seat off and still won the race. I mean, one other thing I want to say there, it was good to see Tom Pidcock back at the front of a cyclocross race, coming back and being there later in the race. I'm wondering if we'll see a little bit more results from him in the cross, but it sounded like perhaps maybe not his focus right now.
Well, you know what? It's always good, Nathan, to have depth and competitive balance. And Tom Pidcock really is the canary in the coal mine for that sport, where if it's only going, so you want to have the highest level of racing, that means that Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert are going to be there. But who wants to have just two guys in a bike race? Bike racing's been meant to have a field, right? Now, and so it's not a prize fight, right? So, and without the Tom Pidcocks or the Ellie Esports, you don't have the right ingredients for a cake.
Can I jump in one more thing there? More thing there? Yeah, just one more thing. Like, that course also showed a deeper depth in some ways, but it was a fast course. And so being a fast course and also a dry course, and part of the reason it's almost more difficult than a cross race for those that don't race a lot of cross, like when it's dusty and dry like that, and you got to jump back on your bike and you think it's going to hold you, that downhill had a little off camber to it. That's a lot of what happened there. That the dry, dusty course, boom. I mean, those almost are more difficult sometimes because you don't expect it to come at you. So
100%.
There's that as well. So yeah, that's I think our racing from that really was exciting over the last week. I think. Anything else?
No, I mean, I know that everybody wants to get into stage 4 here, and looking at those leaderboards, it's going to be today's the day, Nathan, that we're going to see riders, I think, trying to break away and get a few seconds to move up, as we've got a lot of riders locked on time, sort of like Tour Down Under, right? It is really hard when push comes to shove to eke out a bonus second to win that race. I mean, when you're looking at countbacks and commentators are confused about even how the countback would work, you got yourself a tight bike race.
Yes, that's true. At the end of the race, it was like that you heard
who won?
Like what
right.
huh? So it was a close race. That kind of happens here as well a little bit, Dave. I mean, the A's are getting out on course, and right from the get-go, a little bit of a push, and it's pretty close. Speaking of how close it was at the Tour Down Under, well, it's close here as well as in the men's side of things on the A's. What's the count back on GC? These are timed for the entirety of all the stages. This is after 3 stages. This guy, in Dallas, he's been showing up we've seen him in some sprints, haven't we, Dave?
Yeah, we sure have. He's one of the riders, Nathan, that would wish there was bonification offered, like the 10, 6, and 4 seconds you see in a World Tour stage race. So, but that's not the case. It's natural time that the riders get. This is after 3 stages. We're into 4 here in France. This course was designed. This is the northern part of the France map that came to life for the Tour de France Virtual back in 2020. So, but you're 100% right, Nathan. Even without the bonuses, he's 3 seconds quicker than Carlos Flores there in second. This is, again, the GC time, the general classification time that they have after 3 stages. So it's only 4 seconds back to CJT. It's Svein Stolsmo. They're at, 6 seconds. You can see how close this is, stacking them up like cordwood here. There's the man himself, Charles McCarthy of the Velocio team at 1:20. He's a guy to watch out for in a breakaway today. Sorry to put a big red X on your back now, Charles. But EP, I think it's Charles that you probably got underneath the banner that I'm reading. I think that looks like the Velocio jersey. EP there in 6th. This is our A's that we're looking at. Anders Broberg of ESRT in 7th. And let's move through Christian Ofdahl, Rainier Beckers, and Jan Bauer. That's our top 10 on GC. Back to you, Nathan.
Yeah, and off the front, right from the get-go, our man Teppo Lorio is making moves within the A category. Good to see the push here coming from him. Lorio now completely demolishing this now, as you can see. Does look like his, we do have a little bit of, as you can see, a little new graphic to see the energy expenditure that is based off of the watt balance from the rider out there. So Lorio, as he gets moving there, about half a tank left based on what is given to us. So obviously been pushing pretty hard so far.
Hey, explain that graphic a little more for us, Nathan. It's always cool seeing new things. I'm guessing Alejandro might be involved in this. It's got his fingerprints all over it, but obviously a lot of things happening. It's with community life. So talk about the graphic again, how that is being derived.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is we want to keep it as simple as possible. So like a health bar in the video game. That's how much energy, though, that the rider has at this moment. It is the estimation currently, and we'll get some pushback a little bit about this. Currently, it's not a perfect critical power profile. If we were to get in the weeds about it a little bit, but essentially it's based off of critical power profiles or threshold zone profiles, and the energy that you've expended over threshold then drains the tank there. And if you spend time under threshold or around threshold, the tank fills back up. That's the most simple way to put it. There's algorithms in the background that are working, but essentially you go over threshold and the tank
basically
will drain.
to make it even more layman's terms, basically we're estimating how big your gas tank is and how much fuel that you're using, and somewhat along those lines.
Yep. Pretty much, exactly. That's exactly what we're looking at.
Well,
here.
Good. That's a cool new feature. Here goes Michael Podzoline now, the pride of Connecticut, off of the front. As you can see, Wahoo Lacole is going to be very active. WLC and Velocio mixing it up. Nathan, they might get a breakaway organized here.
Yeah, this is a good little move here from Podzoline, and they are really on it right now, Dave. I mean, this is insane. And look at the kind of power that he's had to put out so far. He's all the way up. I mean, this is seriously, let's double check this here. I want to make sure we got this right. Podzoline, a little bit more than that, 438 watts here, 163 beats per minute. And they've got 4 off the front. They got 4 really dangerous riders, but it's not Jaden Yager. It's another Yager from Innovation trying to close that down. And here's the thing, Dave, I have a feeling that Ian Dowse has teammates here today, actually, perhaps doing a little work for him. Because I saw INC doubled up on the front.
A one-man wrecking crew, Tepalorio on the front right now. He's going to get some help as McCarthy coming over the top. There's Ewan himself, Nathan, as you're mentioning. This is going to be, so it benefits all of these guys. Let's quickly talk about the format here. It is stage racing, even though the interval is unique, as you can do multiple attempts at the same stage, but you want to get in with the right group. It's like you want to be in the fast ride if you are an A-level rider. Well, a lot of times because of the broadcast and just all the dynamics at play, this is a very quick group. And if you look at the engines that we've got on the front here, there's James Young of the TMT team. Obviously, Tepalorio has been one of the most celebrated riders. That's our leader after 3 events so far, Ewan Dowse. So, all right, Nathan, setting the table for a group that is full tilt boogie out here today.
Yeah, and as you saw, Ewan's put out a pretty good effort here. I wonder if he uses workout mode much, though, because if his threshold's set really low compared to what he can actually do, he may falsely drain the tank there a little bit. I want to know whether or not his threshold's set correctly because of how low his power bar was there. But now off the front a little bit. No, it's all calmed right on down, it looks like, actually. The initial attack's not going anywhere. Nice to see, though, how active these riders were right from the get-go. Always great to see. Now, Dave, across all the categories right now, we have plenty of riders. 174 in the D category, 229 in the C category, Dave. And in the B category, 229 in the C category. In the B category, 191. Dave, do we have close pushing almost 600 racers? This is insane. B category, Dave, moss up off the front.
This is what Flat is Fast is all about. This kind of turnout is exceptional as we're racing here today in France. I'm blown away. I love it. And actually, Nathan, there definitely is the Zwift Community Live bump, but also there's the factor that birds of a feather flock together, right? This has become, as we're still in with the A's now.
No, B's, excuse me. I went to the B's.
In with the B's now. My bad. But we've had a chance to really celebrate all of these different groups, and there's been some incredible racing going on down in the C's and D's as well. But again, 4.9K into what's just under 25K of racing. Douce France, again, the virtual Tour de France, that was such a cool event that was held on Zwift going back a few years ago. And looking up that word, Nathan, pleasant. And it really is pleasant with those balloons in the sky, man. This is just a beautiful place to go out and cruise on your bike. But today, it's not about a cruise. It's about dropping the hammer. And this group here now doing what we saw the A's doing not too long ago, Nathan. Very motivated on the front of a massive, I mean, it's not quite single file, but it's closer to that than a peloton right now.
Yeah, and this counter here from the rider from HDR. No, actually, it's going to be Ram Racing, actually making a little bit of a move off the front. Nice to see. It does look like, watching the ride. Swanson knows who it's going to be here. The watching graphics sometimes a little bit of a bug there. We'll see if we can get that taken care of, because sometimes we really do need it with the long names. But Swanson here, now making a little bit of moves. This is going to be Schwartz now as well. Now, all back together for just a moment. No counters. They almost snapped elastic, and then we even seen, I'm not sure which rider said it, but somebody was asking perhaps Dan Manalo there to like, come on, let's go. We need a little bit more, but I think they saw the writing on the wall, and that's the moment the motivation goes out a little bit, Dave, when they can see there's just too many here for us to really make the move work.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm with them on that. I guess if you're going to try to make it work, you wait till 10K in and do it on the Aqueduct KOM. It's just not a massive feature, but it's really all you've got to work with out here if you're going to try something like that, splitting this group or getting a move together. I don't know what else you really can do, because this is a motivated group. They're flat out flying right now. It's pretty good chance this comes down to some kind of a sprint.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes with the Aqueduct climb, but I mean, I think you might be right. But we could see escapes. We don't see it that much in flat is fast once in a while, but with the nature of this course, I think there's a lot of opportunities to sneak away. Or at least make it really, really hard to really string it out a lot. Sometimes the lack of features on a course when it comes to undulation, gives a different kind of opportunity to just kind of slingshot things over and over and see what might stick.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting that way, Nathan. Kind of what we're looking at right now. I think I just saw Sarah Roach's name pop up here. This is an open category, which is, and that would fit the bill for Sarah. She has been punching way above her weight since she started esports racing. So let's see if we can find Sarah here. Always like to celebrate the women that take on a big challenge, that's for sure. And this is not just some run-of-the-mill Tuesday afternoon B ride. This is Monday. This is a big deal for these guys. Flat is fast stage 4. And thanks, Nathan. Really quickly, I'll run through your top 10. It is a 1 second advantage for Marius Foyside, the Norwegian there on top of the table. The Swedish rider there, Niklas Alkvist in second. Dan Manalo, who we've been featuring lately on the broadcast. It's great to see Dan so active in Zwift Community Live. Henrik Grunberg in fourth. Dark Knight in fifth. Graham Miller for sixth right now. You can see their times and how there's 3 riders there on 1:25:03. So Dark Knight, Graham Miller, and Casey Schum all right there. Ben and P.A. Pedersen. And I think he was our winner, actually, just last week in the race that we broadcast. Scott Mossop rounds out our top 10 for the Bees. That's where things stand after 3 stages. We're deep into, getting stuck into stage 4.
Yeah, and we saw just a moment ago the blue hat Scotty there on a little bit of attack. It's calmed right on down, it looks like, as they're heading on over toward the Aqueduct KOM. Things are heating up majorly in the A race right now a little bit, but now it's all been brought back together. Dow's was on the, it looked like maybe not attack, but was closing things down after a couple of attacks, but they've calmed down before they are going to be hitting that Aqueduct. But we do have a couple other categories I just want to feature here quickly here across with the C's now, as we're all the way back in actually 96th place right now, looking for the front, as there are 229 starters. Is there anybody off the front's the big question, actually. And it does look like we've got some pretty big attacks going here. We've got Marwitz now giving full beans here coming into the little. Now, this is a sprint section, so perhaps he's just having a little bit of fun with it and getting some TV time. Always like to see.
That I thought that was exactly it, that we went to the broadcast, but I think that was a test sprint there. There are no bonuses along the way, but it's always good to almost like a town line sprint out there as we are in with our C's now, and James Stevenson has a 2 second. You can see how tight every category is going to be. That's why you want to be with the right ride. John Paradines in second here with James Stevenson as our leader, only 2 seconds back. Then 2 riders on the same time, tied for third, is Kev Taylor and Stefan Huiskims. It's 5th place for Dean Musgrave, 6th for Theodore Telfson, 7th place now, and let's see, he's still in inside of 10 seconds. The overall lead is Peter Backlund. It's Leighton Smith in 8th, Frederick Eden in 9th, and then James Bont rounds out our top 10. Very international group of flags there.
Although and we just saw Funderburk, Dave, making a little bit of a move. Funderburk, excuse me. Good to see him coming back and hanging out in the broadcast. We've seen him a couple weeks back making some moves. So starting to see some familiar names, but a lot of new names, though, too, Dave. I mean, with 229 racers, we've got plenty of new blood out here to see if they can make their mark or get taken down out here today in this Z Racing. Absolutely love to see the kind of participation. Now, if there's a lot of new riders and you're seeing the YouTube, watching us on replay, watching us live, if you do end up over category limits, please get your upgrades going, and you will be put into some sort of category enforcement. But let's try and make sure we're trying to make this across categories as best as we possibly can. But that is our C category. Calm down again. I'm going to jump over real quickly and highlight that our A category does have this man who I raced this weekend actually in the KISS 100, Stolzmo, who is a very strong rider if he sneaks off the front from the Vikings team, hitting the Aqueduct. We'll jump in with our D's in a moment, but because we're on the Aqueduct, the only climb out on course with the A's, I am going to bring this in to see how the moves are made.
Oh boy, and look who just as you go into frame there, Nathan, it's going to be Teppo Lorio coming over the top. So the Finns, the Norwegians really battling now. As there's our man, Mr. Tarek, also up in the mix with that Wahoo Lacole team. So these are some very familiar names. But as you noted, Nathan, we're starting to see some new names showing up here at the front of this group as well as we get into the sweet part of the season now. So about at the midpoint here, as they come over the Aqueduct, that some riders getting tailed off, not that many, remembering that this was a 90 rider field that we started with for the A's, so almost only a third of the riders. I mean, 90 is a great sized field, but when you compare it up against 230, it looks small.
Right? I mean, that's kind of crazy. It's like, oh, yeah, it's a small weird field. 90 starters.
90. Disappointing 90 rider field, right?
Gives you a good idea, Dave. Yesterday I raced, and this new energy bar, it's interesting because, I ended up with about half a bar left. Teppo, it gives you an idea. I was off the front too, to give you an idea of how much over threshold they've been doing. I'm pretty sure Teppo's threshold is going to be set well because he does use workout mode a lot and stuff. So there's not much left. He's almost down, and probably his watt balance is probably down under 10. So 35% energy left based on a 20K watt balance. I mean, that's pretty low for a top pro on Zwift here. So, this is great to see how hard this has been. It just gives you a little bit of an idea of how much they've been pressing the pace over VO2 or over threshold, excuse me.
Teppo's the kind of guy, Nathan, that every time he goes into a gas station, I bet you he's tapping on the gauge, running on fumes. This guy lives in the back half of the gas tank. He really does. I bet you Teppo hasn't seen a full bar since he started Zwifting. That's how all in he is. Look at this. It's K de Smet. It is, this is a big play, Nathan. Here we go. Even though we've got a long way to go, we're just starting the back nine. These guys are really throwing down a huge effort from the Belgian right now. That is cool to see another Jager, maybe a distant family member of Yaden here. Authentic to the German flag.
This is a big move, actually, Dave. This is what I'm talking about. These sections of course, you can get, especially this section of course, Dave, you can get so rewarded. It feels like I smoked a pack.
I just saw that.
Ago. Yeah. Well, that tells you exactly how hard this pace has been. Oh, man. Christoph Smet here on the move. Now backing off a little bit as Jager is going to be closing this down from innovation. Dave, they got to be working for you, and you can tell, you can sense it, can't you?
100%. No doubt about it. I want to confirm Kirkfield, the Dragon, King Dragon, is in this group. As I want to make sure that I'm right, though, as it can be important to confirm these things. But that's one of the riders that I think that Ewan has to be the most worried about. Nathan, you're so good at this. Can you help me confirm if Kirkfield is here? Because I haven't seen the name pop. Oh,
I did see him.
There we go.
I did see him. Yep, I have seen Kirkfield here. Apologies about that. But
No, my bad. Nothing is worse than going on about a danger man who's not in the bike race. That's
He's a dragon, and the dragons, I do know they do show up specifically to try and win this. I know that of the dragons. I'm absolutely
he's got
positive
axed.
of that.
He's got axed with him, but they're going to need to cover this.
Yeah, a little bit of a move. Who's going off the front here? Countering. That's going to be Veldkamp. Veldkamp on the move. Nice little move here coming from Gert-Jan Veldkamp. 2 seconds up the road now at this point.
It's funny. It's just looking at a article about one of the greatest Gert-Jans of all time, Gert-Jan Tunisa, who was the king of the mountain. He and Steven Rooks were two of the Dutch guys that were dominant climbers back. Gert-Jan Veldkamp, though, on the completely flat. This is the opposite of Alpe d'Huez or Alpe d'Huez. As Gert-Jan, he's got a big charge there on his life bar. What are we calling that bar, Nathan? What's your catchphrase
we'll
for that?
We'll figure it out. We'll figure energy bars, but energy bar sounds like something
energy
you
bar
eat.
Keeps making me think of a Cliff bar.
Power bar, right. Yeah. So I mean, his health bar. It's his health bar. They were in a video game. It's how much health he's got left, but that doesn't make sense to cycling. But life bar. It's his life raft. Come on, Chad, help us out. What should we call it? We're something's gonna stick. Something's gonna stick, and we'll get a good one on that. But now backing off a little bit, as you can see. Wasn't able to make it happen, and good to see his little bit of. I mean, that was a good move, though. He had some time. He had some distance there.
How about a wattometer?
Wattometer.
No,
that's a little complicated.
It's too much. It sounds too scientific.
That's a little complicated. It's a wattometer. Dave, the wattometer's going. Oh man, no,
it's
I don't
dropping.
No,
I see. The thing is, energy bar is the perfect term if it didn't mean something else that's already so relatable, right?
Right. Charles McCarthy. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, he's right now McCarthy off of the front. Velocio is always going to have attention, and it seems like wherever Charles goes, there's two Wahoo Lecole riders. Make it three now coming. Michael Podzaline is there. Ewan Dow's covering this move. He's one of the big danger men here today. I'm going to go back to what I was saying, though, about Kirkfield, the Dragon. Haven't heard much from him, which means that his life bar should be pretty
where is
thick.
He? That's a good question for that guy.
He's been in the draft all day.
Yeah,
which is
Dragons,
good.
I'm looking for him. Here he is. This is your man right here. So Kirkfield, he's going to be a danger man, I think, out here today.
Well, he's certainly playing it cool as a cucumber here. We're down to
look at this.
9.
Look at this.
That was I feel good about that call. Look, he's the only one that has green in his bar. Or even close to it. Heart rate low, definitely. They have cucumbers in Germany. I'm sure that a good cucumber dill salad.
They call it something else. They call it
right.
They call it I should know this.
Could you ask your wife, please?
Yeah. She definitely told me all about what they were called at one point.
It's kind of like a yogurt and cucumber and dill.
I feel like
you can't go wrong with that.
I feel like that's a different thing, though. I feel like they would. Maybe I just am remembering someone educating me.
I think you're on the right track.
Yeah,
actually,
I kind of think
you've got it right. Anyways, the point is, this guy's got a good chance of winning. All cucumber talk aside.
All cucumber talk aside. ESRT now on the move, though. Here we go.
Well, this is how you definitely, if you want to upset the apple cart, you don't do it by waiting around and standing there. You do it by getting after it. And this is going to be Liam Handstrom. Wow.
He's sending it.
Some motocross skills.
It's a double send. He's sending it in the profile pic. He's sending it off the front. ESRT. 189 beats per minute. That's a send. Oh, my gosh.
Is that a can or a knack? What is he doing there?
I
don't know my jumping terminology well enough. Right?
I'm too old at this point to know my jumping terminology anymore. I should know that, though. I really should. Charles McCarthy making another move. I'm gonna yell. I'm gonna tell Charles. This isn't actually a perfect algorithm, so I shouldn't yell at him too much. But I mean, he's completely drained supposedly. So I don't know if you've set his threshold as of recently. Or
is he completely full? Or is he completely full? See, that's the...
He's empty inside at this point. We actually said, so yesterday we actually clicked on a runner, and runners have no watt balance in game. So they're just empty all the time. So all runners, just so you know, that they're all just empty inside. Just kidding. And then the chat said, why would you run? And so just having fun with it, everybody. But McCarthy here now, 6.8 watts per kilogram, 185 beats per minute, but it looks like he's going to be caught.
Yeah, last thing we need is the lashback from the running community out here. And actually, speaking of running, we did have Sarah Roach in our B race who just did the Houston Marathon at 3 hours, right? So there's definitely some crossover here with running. So we'll keep the shade at a minimum. So that's our A's down to 18.3K in, leaving less than, let's call it 6.5K of racing remaining for them. So that'll be done and dusted in the next 10 minutes or so. We can jump over and pick up our D's now.
Real
Thanks,
quickly,
Nathan.
I do want to just highlight, I want to make sure, and we'll get their back end of their race for sure, but we didn't get a chance to talk about where their standings are at, and I definitely want to do that.
Great. And I am going to be looking up that flag as well for C. Morgan. But let's go right into it as Peter Silva is our leader, 1:36.24. So you can see this is the biggest time gap difference that we've seen, which isn't surprising to come from the Ds. As BV sitting in second, John Levin in third. It's Andrew Naroki in fourth, Cole Nelson fifth, Dave Grendel sixth, Alistair van der Vlies in seventh, US Israel in eighth, and then Toby Moore is in the top 10 at ninth, with Adam Monk rounding out our top 10 for our D Open category. Or
Czech Republic, just as a heads up, Czech Republic.
Yeah. But I was worried about C. Morgan over here.
Oh,
Nathan,
Morgan. I apologize. Right. Sorry. I thought you meant the top of the... No, good call. Yep.
It's the green and yellow that we know from Brazil, but it's not Brazil, for obviously.
And this may be his first... This may be Morgan's first flat is fast, actually. I have a feeling. And because he's not in the past results from what I can see here. And no heart rate monitor on, but a little bit of a push on the front here. But now Tam here, it looks like keeping it steady. Going to jump back across, though. Want to just highlight where the Ds are with their standings right now. We'll get back in with them as they get closer to their finish line, because the A category is heating up completely, coming into their final couple of K. Also, the B category having a good couple of attacks we did see just a moment ago on this B category. And Dan Manalo, I think it was what the move. Now Gray from and Gray here from Dirt making a little bit of a move as well in that B in the upper right-hand corner. But we're going to go across over to our A's because they're about to ramp it up for their finish.
I remember we were wondering if Dan is racing out of Hawaii after watching his waterfall photo. It'll be interesting.
He hasn't answered our question yet. I don't know what he thinks going on.
Here comes Kirkfield, Nathan. This is the first time that we've seen Kirkfield making a move as he gets up to the front now. So you were absolutely right. We've entered the business end for our A's. We'll get back to our B's, C's, and D's, but we are locked in now. We're down to 4K of racing, and it's going to really be complicated to win out of this group. There's so many danger men that are going to be attacking and going over the top that you can't count on being in this group for a sprint, Nathan.
One of the big questions here that's kind of crazy is that, Dave, we were exporting the standings and then like getting the standings and figuring out where they were at, and they changed over the weekend, like twice. The top 10 over the weekend changed twice. What does that speak to about flat is fast? That like we get this huge group on Monday, and a lot of times the fastest time split set on Mondays, but then you get this situation now where they're looking at each other for the win on the day. And where's the other Dragons? Where's the other innovation? Where's some more WLC? They need to be going flat is faster than this, because there's I saw Christian Alfadal jump into the top 10 over the weekend, actually. One of the top racers in the world at a 1:20.44. Right now, Ian Dowds has this, but there's people still hunting. So, they got to start showing up with some team members to hold on to this overall.
The thing about Zwift, it's just like in real life riding. When someone tells you it's flat or it's just one more climb, it's never the case, right? And out here with the flat is fast, these guys, it's going to get faster, but this turned into a tactical battle for the win here. These guys came to race today, not as much about trying to go as fast as they can as a group, right? And it's absolutely awesome that you never know.
There it goes.
There you go. That's one of the...
Who's this?
It's Kirkfield.
Yeah, it's Pedersen. It's Pedersen. Big.
Pedersen.
That's a huge attack. 9 watts per kilogram, Dave.
And a long way to go. This is a huge play right now. So get ready. They've got the gloves off. It's just going to be bedlam from here on in. Taking a look at that group. So now, Nathan, we were talking about how it wasn't fast. Well, from here on in, it's going to be accelerator buried down on the floorboard. He's got a relatively good energy bar there.
Hey, look at how fast it's coming down.
Watch it drop.
It's coming down.
It's like he's leaking oil coming out of the chassis here as Pedersen and Nathan. You get the feeling that this is a one and done kind of effort. Kirkfield up to the front daily is their Podsaline. Ewan Dowes is still there. You talked about Svein Stolsmo, Nathan. The Norwegian is looking extremely dangerous today. We're going to run out of real estate quickly here. Douce France, anything but pleasant right now as Pedersen still on the front. It looks like the catch is imminent though.
Here we go now. Kirkfield now.
The difference in his bar.
Is there a dropout? Well, oh no! Did he leave what happened?
It's the only reason his bar is going up would be something bizarre has happened.
Something really odd just happened.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
in time
what that
through a wrinkle.
was. Did they just leave help us out? If somebody's in chat that knows what happened there. I've never even seen that. We'll see if we can jump back. I'm going to see if I can get back across there.
That was weird.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe he just left the event, or is there a false fit? Was that a finish line that we don't know about?
It shouldn't be.
It was. That was a finish line we didn't see. It's a shorter course than but I did this last night. Or so something.
If I remember that they were just coming up on 22.5K.
That must have been on his end. It might have been on his end. I'm going to see what's going on. We're back in with the B category. I'll figure out if there's still people out on course. See if I can find Teppo, actually. But that was really interesting.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll figure that out for you. This is, again, now our Bs that we're in with. So taking a look at an attack going up the road here, this group's going to be equally active. So, all right, Nathan, attacks left, right, and center as our Bs are ready to bring it home.
Yeah, Bs are ready to bring it home. Here we go. Oh, I think he got pulled. He may have got pulled from the race. That may have been what was going on there.
We happened to be on a rider who got pulled in the moment that we were
That may have been what happened there. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not calling that for sure. I'm not saying for sure that that's exactly what happened. But, I mean, I don't know what else could have been there. So,
that was definitely odd.
Yeah, well, let's focus in on the Bs here now. We will jump across as best if we can back over to, I think they're probably finished by now. I apologize for the A's there if they are
we'll get your results.
Yeah, we will definitely be getting your results. But it's very difficult. Actually, this is the one world, too, where we can't jump across. Like France, you just can't. It just doesn't work. So here we go. Bracken, BZR, Ahmed's Bowl. Now, 3 seconds, Dave. 3 seconds is workable, I think, here.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting. You got to take so many things. They're teammates, aren't they? That really helps. If they can swap poles here, they don't want to be side by side. That's the thing, is we really would like to see them helping each other to the finish line. You'd think that they would want to be doing that as well. They're trying, that's for sure. So there's the arrow power up. That comes into play. There's the catch, though, and they're coming over the top, Nathan.
D-Knight. Look at this, Dave. This is with 1.7 to go? Yeah,
let's call it 1.5. But yes, that's going to be an early move.
He
really
closed his
brave.
200 meters when I said it. he closed he closed. Yeah, 1.5. I love it, Dave. I love it. I say 1.7. He closes 200 meters. 1.5. Here we go, the countdown. He might have done it in your game.
I was just updating in real time. Yeah, here we go.
It's so good. Now here we go. Barunga now, 7.1. The lead out coming here. Can Knight hold on? I don't think he can, Dave. He's still got 200 meters to the line.
I'd like to believe in the Dark Knight, but I have a feeling that evil forces might overcome him, as this is going to, not that anyone else out here is evil, but this is going to be interesting now, as they're going to close this down, or can they? And now that surge, Nathan.
The beast, snowy from the beast, trying to make it happen, but no, it's going to be low in the man to the line, but it's right there, nipped by BN. BN nips him at the line. That was a great race from the B category. Nicely done. Great job to the Bs out there. Good racing. We'll jump back over to the Cs now in just a second.
Frenetic finish there. I would imagine that was somewhat similar to what the A's had in their run-in as well. Just bananas, outright crazy. So here we go, picking up the C's now, out on the same course. Nathan, I'm going to guess that part of that, the technical issue there, moving from world to world that's challenging in France, might be because this world was brought to life pretty quickly with the virtual Tour de France, all the craziness around COVID. This world, kind of its timeline fits in right with that crazy part of all of our lives.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's definitely a good point there.
The scoop spread out across the road now, as it looks like there will be an attack, we have to think, but I'm expecting a little bit more of a classic field sprint from the C's. That might be what more of them signed up for as well, if that makes any sense. Guys who came to sprint, flat is fast, that's what they were sold. They didn't want it to be a bill of goods. They were looking for a field sprint. They had 229 starters in this C field. That's got all the ingredients for a field sprint, which means we will get a solo attack in winter, right, Nathan?
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if we're – I like that you said that, Dave. It has all the ingredients for a field sprint, but that means –
which means you expect the opposite.
Exactly.
Well, that's what's fun about. I love racing on Zwift, partly because of how it's not predictable. It doesn't follow patterns. Sure, there's logical things that happen, but all of the dynamics of in real life racing, where courage and risk and reward come into play, apply equally here. Like, look, I think we're seeing our is that positioning, pace lifting, all of the above.
Yeah, P guys just sitting on the front, it looks like to me.
They're not
having
attacking,
a good time.
per se.
Definitely not attacking. So interesting to see how he's going to be going.
You feel like a director just told them, everybody move up to the front, is what they heard through Discord.
Yeah, and now we're at that point here, Dave. 2K to go. 2K to go as they're looking to try and get to the end line not as quickly as they possibly can, that's for sure. This is all about the win out here today for the C category.
I don't know that they're going to have the fastest time out here either if they're going to race like this. Spanned out across the road here. We've talked about this is a stage race that goes weekly. You have multiple opportunities to get a better time if you so choose. And choosing the right group if you're going for the fast time is a bit of a crapshoot because you never know how, as we were just talking about, Nathan, you never know how the race is going to play out. And at 41, I wouldn't say that this is a slow race for these guys, but they can go faster.
Yeah,
and they are now.
I would. Yeah,
they're picking it up right now.
And this is always the question: when do you go? It's a really difficult one to time. We saw it just a moment ago in the final, 100 meters. Somebody came around, but now P guy's going to make this move here, right on the wheel. It does look like
we've got a ways to go.
I mean, this may. We'll see how this plays out.
It's an early start on this.
1,086.82. This guy can push Funderburk here now, I think, is going to be your man because I'm not sure anybody's bringing that back if he can hold on. Definitely waited till this moment. The Sisu rider's going to do it, I think, here, Dave, with that kind of speed.
Yeah, I would say a definitive move made, although it's not over until he comes across the line and it's over.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, George just holding on.
Closer than you think, though. Goes to show you that the closing speed is just amazing out here. That's our C's. So we'll put that one in the bank, start earning interest on it as we'll move in to cover our D's finale next. I hope that I didn't. Yes, good job, Nathan. Excellent work today as we pick up the D's at, let's call it 1.5 Ks to go.
Yeah, and we're in with Morgan, Tim, Snarry, Jensen, Levin is here, Gravison, Jay Israel, PW's there as well as Fanchannel, the Raptors with this Road to Watch Strider thing is really starting to get me a little bit here. As this is going to be, and it's actually working on this one, Pearson with Silva and Leah are all there together. So this is the situation. I think about 13, 14 riders now at this point.
All right. So that's what you call the selection. Actually, I think you could even call it the ultimate selection. I don't know that another selection will come out of this one, although they're going to push that and maybe try to prove me wrong. C. Morgan's been on the front for the entire time we've been checking in with this event. Let's see if we can bring it home that way. It's going to be Jay Tam now trying to close things down. It's quite a mix of riders that we've got here, Nathan. As they come up on 1K to go, I get the feeling we're going to see someone go into hero mode here. I'm expecting an attack out of this group. Who doesn't trust? Well, it's not so much who doesn't trust in their sprint. Who wants to get out in front of that problem?
Yeah, now we do see a little bit of move here coming in from.
There it is.
Is that going to be Jensen moving to the front? No,
the 10-year-old,
actually.
10-year-old triathlete.
Yeah, great to see him. Awesome to see him showing up again. But I think he may not have the kick up against these pure raw watts, perhaps.
He made the move, though. You know what I mean? That's punching above your weight.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I was wrong. He uses the drafting power up. He's a little ways out from the line now still at this point. Wow. 200 meters to the line. Will he take it down? 10 years old, sprinting against these boys. Well, is he going to be able to do it? I don't think he's going to hold up to the line. It's Silva, always from NTS, waiting in the wheels. The 10-year-old continues to hold on, but raw watts might be just a little bit too much for the watts per kilogram coming from the youngster here at this point. Or is it the last kick? I love it. Right to the line. Holds it, but what a battle for heart. Second. I love it.
That young man's got heart. We met the 10-year-old last week racing here, but it did look like Sliva. If we look at the back-end API, I think it's going to confirm that Sliva for NTS is going to take the win. Brought it home at a rapid rate there, closing out the deal here. That's going to wrap up racing for A's, B's, C's, and D's. We'll have a chance to look at our results from today. I don't know, Nathan, not throwing any shade, but I don't feel like at least our A's and B's, I don't think that was the fastest effort they could have made. They were racing for the win out there today, which is absolutely understandable, right? You never know what the motivation is going to be, and racers are going to race their race.
100%. Well, Dave, we'll see. We actually are having a couple of issues in the background here with the results. I can read them out at the moment as I do have them here, but there's been a couple of updates to our back-end system, and this week we have them, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to show them here. But James Young from Mutant takes it down, Dave. James Young, Alexander Wenderbo. It's going to be John Bauer, Ewan Dowes. So Dowes ends up in 4th place out here. A little ways back. Did he get the
same time?
1.131. 0.131 is what he ends up at. He averaged 435 watts. This guy's 90 to 100 kilograms. He is a monster. Absolute monster. Watch out for this man in any sprint. Anders Mostegaard, can be Christian Seibert. Svein Stolzmo, Carlos Flores, Lucas Borges, and Martin Lind. That's the situation. Charles McCarthy in 11th place, just outside there of the top 10. I'll see if I can get an update here in just a moment to perhaps get some results going up on screen. But Dave, I'm liking this course. You know, there was kind of some rhythm to when you could really go on this course. I feel like where you saw very similar across the A's, the B's, and the C's. In the D category, there was a breakaway group that just kind of got away, and there was just a consistent train on the front, it looked like. But in the other categories, the same kind of pattern played out, it seemed like to me, where eventually it calmed down with about 10K to go, one more big attack, and then it was this like last 2K, everyone watching each other.
Yeah, Nathan, the greater the variance in speed during the race, meaning the more tactical that race typically is. The D's, where they're getting into this sport, it generally can be more of a battle of the most heart and strongest rider on the day, where tactics aren't as much of an element. Tactics will always be a part of it, and strategy too. But what I really love is the sophistication that you've seen in the A's since we've been involved. You now see that in the B's and the C's. They race very intelligently. So it's really, really cool to see how far this whole thing has come. You've been there for the whole ride, but I'm noticing some serious improvements across the board in the level and quality of racing.
Yeah, and absolutely love the numbers that are showing up here. I'm seeing 790 registered riders. 790. Absolutely insane.
Is that good?
So I mean, that's
great.
That's crazy. I don't know the last time I've seen that besides in like a Tour de Zwift or something like that. I mean, crazy to see. One thing I want to do that we didn't do at the beginning of the program, this isn't going to be the results as of this moment. This was coming into this week, but we didn't highlight the women. I didn't realize how much time we were going to need up front for some of our extras that we do have, because we did start doing our league standings, which I'm so glad that we have those, as well as our wrap up on in our level up on in real life cycling at the start of the program. So we didn't get a chance to go through all the standings coming on into the race. So let's go ahead and take a quick look though at where things are standing with the women, because we actually there are women who do participate. They do tend to jump in with the other categories here, with the A category, the B category, because there is a women's event, but because there's not many participants in the in that women's event specifically, they jump in with the guys across the A, B, C, and D's, and so it is a mixed category, and it looks like they got some good times from it.
Yeah, and Florence Nakagwa is on top of the table here, completing 3 events in 1:27:04. It's going to be T. Gutzenberger, the German, in second at 58:40. It's quite a mix that we've got here. There's Gabby Guerra, Sarah's No-Pins rider, in third. Flavia Lopez in fourth. Larliz Dalva, the Brazilian, in fifth. Sarah Roach in sixth. Natalie Carroll for seventh. Nini in eighth. Julia Lehman in ninth. And then Maria Tomerby Thompson is the Danish rider there, rounding out our top 10 in our A women's group. For the B's, it's Emma Wingrove on top of the table with Mele Luis Mele in second. Caroline Augustson in third, Charlotte Colclough for fourth, Neil Irish in fifth, Randy Gino sixth, Dorothy Olsen seventh, Mona Kangasnimi in eighth, Marianne Eriksson for ninth, and Desert Queenbee in 10th.
Definitely getting a little bit more participation across the board there, it looks like, for the B category. And I think that's the main place for the ladies out there. It does feel like this is the main place that they are jumping in. So if you do want to get involved, the B category for this mixed is a good place. And I did see Sarah Roach out there giving a little bit of a chatter, actually, toward the back end of the race. So good to see her jumping in. This is the C category for the ladies.
All right. Thanks, Nathan. Karen Haglund, the Swede for ESRT, is on top of the table. Same thing here. All of these riders have completed 3 events, so we'll see how it updates after this week. But 1:32.19, the fastest time. It's only 5 seconds back for the New Zealander, Anna Longdale. It's Jana Brusils in third, Louise Godfrey for fourth. It's Sylvia Milczak in fifth, is Zivan in sixth. Sadie Laker in seventh, Carla Gendler in eighth, Natume Maria in ninth, and then Tracy Steger rounding out our top 10 for our C women out there. And here's our D's now. Same thing. All of these top 10 riders have completed 3 stages. So far here in the ZRacing League standings, it's Mikey Hendrickson on top of the table with Ellie Engelhofer in second, Joe Jukes in third, Anna Stanley fourth, Lynn Bjorkvik in fifth, Sime Ismek in sixth. It's V Xing Bicycle Way of Life in seventh, Sharon Wu in eighth, Robin Cavers ninth, and then Likey Ellens rounds out our top 10 in our women's D category here.
Well, everybody, apologies that we can't get results. We missed the end of that A category, a couple of little gremlins, but we'll get them dealt with. But the focus now is Zwift Racing League kicks off tomorrow. Dave, it's going to be a good one here. We're on Cliffside. One big punch of a climb, a descent down the bridge, figure it out into Ocean Boulevard. Breakaways probably happening either over that climb or maybe in that Ocean Boulevard last couple of K. I really like the dynamic here. A lot of people have been doing course recons. I did see Cy Bradley put out a good course recon. We talked all about how to take on this course, actually, a couple of episodes back on the wrap. You can find that with our Cy Bradley interview there. Dave, I'm excited to get going. 6 weeks of racing starts tomorrow.
Yeah, it really doesn't get better. There's no doubt. And there's so much energy around this first race as well. Great course. So, yeah, this is what it's all about on Zwift Racing. So looking forward to it too. And I did want to add that like Cy Bradley, another great example of a real resource out there. Really appreciate people like him in this community giving back so much. So thanks, Cy.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And I've seen a little bit of chatter out there. Hey guys, we had a great conversation in one of the places for a fairly positive but honest conversation, an honest, positive, solutions-based conversation toward how do we get to the best esport we possibly can in Zwift Racing. The Wrap is where we do chat a lot about this with Anna and I, with a lot of the topics that you guys are bringing up to try and bring the solutions to the table so that we can move forward and not just be pointing fingers. So that's really what it's all about here. And if you want to check out those episodes, I think I might have Alex Coe on this week if I can get him. And maybe we'll open up some of the topics I do see in chat. I really appreciate all your guys' passion about it. Trust me, I have been on the same rage train a lot of times on some of those things as well while racing, even this weekend in the KISS 100. But I think that there's definitely attention going to be paid and things are moving forward as you see a lot of stuff happening here in the broadcast as well. On the bot situation, yeah, guys, we're trying to work on that. We do notice it. We are seeing that. Not on the whether or not people have real power topic, but on that one, that definitely needs to get taken care of. We'll see what we can make happen there for everybody. But besides that stuff, ZRacing WTL Zwift Racing League tomorrow. We have those all scheduled out. Make sure to go and get your notifications going for that, Dave. That's going to be a lot of fun. 6 weeks. We're going to be European. We're going to be on the Americas. And you can make sure to get your notifications going for that because tomorrow it all kicks off.
Can't wait to see you tomorrow, Nathan.
Yep. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, we've been live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Hit those follow buttons. ZwiftCommunityLive.com. You can also get all the information on all things ZCL over there. From Dave and Ari, we'll see you tomorrow. Right on.